WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany, often tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have the Oban Single Malt Scotch Whisky, 10 years old, special release 2022, 57.1%. Secondary maturation, can you just say finish? In ex-sherry and Amontillado seasoned casks. All right, so this is Whiskybase number 218168, and I paid 109 euros for this, which I thought was a bargain. Now it's on sale for 99 euros someplace else. You have to wait a few months, and you can get it sometimes cheaper. And it is also still on sale in Germany for 130 euros. I think it's very fascinating to see the price differences with all these different shops in the same place, in the same country. We all have to get it from the same company, Diageo. Diageo imports themselves. They don't use a different importer, malts.com and so on. And so it's like the question is, why can some companies actually sell it under the price of that I would get as a listed price for a wholesaler? I don't know. What am I going to compare it with? I'm going to compare it with the Special Reserve 2021, which was a 12-year-old whiskey, 56.2, and here from ex-bourbon and refill casks, natural cask strength. The first thing I realize is here it says natural cask strength, here it doesn't. The second thing I realize is the color difference. This is light, as if it was always natural color. This has the hue of artificial coloring. I'm not saying it is, I'm just saying it has that hue. All right, so I'm going to compare these two. So I paid 99 euros for this. I paid 109 for this, so I get 2 years less now. And I get actually a little bit more alcohol volume here instead. 56.7 versus the 56.2. All right, very, very good. About 1 percentage point more. Now, I am going to do something that I just decided to do in my German video. I'm going to pull out here the Oban 14, which I think is the better value for money. Now, this is colored. This is chill filtered. This is 43%. And yet I think it's the best of the three. Personal opinion. Now, you can disagree with me all you want. You can say, but Jason, more alcohol means more flavor. Well, if it's not a great flavor, then what are you going to amplify with that alcohol? All right, so I'll choose this almost any time of any day of the year. I think we're at 43 euros for that. As I said, 99, 109, so who knows. All right, so I have my nice little book here. Everyone comes to my channel, wants to know a little bit of information. I have not yet visited the Oban distillery, and I think the Malt Whiskey Yearbook 2023 is a great source of information here. So what we have here is a very old distillery, 1794. It's the oldest distillery owned by Diageo. Didn't know that. The town of Oban actually grew up around the distillery, knew that. So the town was officially founded in 1820, the distillery 26 years before that. And what we have here is basically the only urban distillery of Diageo. So every place else you have to drive to this little hamlet. It's a little tiny little village around there, and it's a little in the countryside. Here we have the city of 10,000. It's a town of 10,000 people who grew up around it. And so what we have here is actually an interesting distillery because it's the third smallest distillery from Diageo. Only Brora and Royal Lachnagar is produced less, but it's the fifth biggest selling single malt brand of their portfolio. They sold last year, 2021, 1.5 million bottles. And so Oban is probably one of the very few distilleries, if not the only one, in Diageo's portfolio that is not actually a workhorse for the blends industry. So almost everything they produce at Oban, They produce about 870,000 max capacity a year. The secret of their success is the somewhat longer fermentation time. I always have problems saying long fermentation time because they actually do 5 long fermentations of 110 hours and they do 1 short of 65 hours. So that 1 short could make a difference sometimes, but who knows. All right, so they have a 1 wash still. It's 16,880 liters. And they have 1 spirit still, about half of that. That's going to be 8,000, about 300 liters. And so they have a 7-ton stainless steel wash tun as well. So I thought that was very interesting. All right, so we have here products almost every year. Now, not every year, but almost every year. Diageo brings out a special release of an Oban. Here we had an interesting one, 12 years of age. On the nose, I get a lot of powder sugar. I get a little bit of sweet barley sugars. I get a little bit of vanilla from the wood. It's a clean, pure malt. Now, is it great tasting? Is it interesting? Yes. On the other hand, I have over here this year something that is different. The Amontillado, basically the same type of casks used in the distiller's editions of Oban, are here more prevalent. So I get a sour, almost acidity. I get a little bit of an underripe apple, an underripe pear, and I get a little bit of almost a little bit of a hint. I'm just going to say the word hint of sulfur here, sulfites. This is not something that's attracting me. That's not alluring. It's not really pulling me in and say, try again and try again. This is something like, oh, I'm so happy I did a bottle share. I'm so happy I did not buy this bottle for myself. My personal opinion is if you're going to have 100 euros burning a hole in your pocket and you want to buy an Oban, I would say go for the 2021 release. Even Whiskybase supports my opinion here. We have 86.6 points here. We have 85.6 points here. 28 votes versus 321 votes. Now, Whiskybase basically says anything under 80 points is don't drink it. Anything above 90 points has to be divine. So you basically have 10 points you use with Whiskybase. Anything between 80 and 90 is like, wow, that's the range. So every single point, this is basically, according to Whiskybase, 10% better than this. All right? So more than 10% better, and therefore I think that is something we should consider when spending our hard-earned money there. Now, if I go over here, I actually have the best smelling nose of the three. I have a fruitiness, I have a sweetness, I have a caramel moment. Could be the caramel coloring, who knows? But I actually have a very, very inviting nose where I go, oh, I like to try that again. This is like, shouldn't have bought that. This is like, oh, okay, that could be okay, but it could be, and this is, oh, yeah. I love Kleinlich and I love Oban 14. I admit my guilty pleasures here. All right, so we're here to test the Oban 10, not the 12, not the 14. Isn't it interesting? The youngest whiskey is the one I'm reviewing. The oldest whiskey is the cheapest. And the second cheapest is the second oldest. Something's not right here. Okay, I'm now at the website malts.com. That's the official website for Diageo. And they say here about this whiskey, maturation in refill and new American oak. Then double maturation in ex-sherry and Amontillado seasoned casks. Brings a mild nose with maritime salt and sea air. Now, I guess there's a virgin oak. If it's new American oak, very, very nice. And refill and new American oak. So not first fill bourbon. I would love to have first fill bourbon, right? So we have refill, we have first fill bourbon, we have new American oak. Are they charred? Here they had the mention of, looky here, from ex-bourbon and refill casks. And then it goes on to say here, the creamy texture introduces a taste rich in sweet hints of wine, poached, spiced plum. Never had that in my life. Balanced by vibrant salt, once again salt and spice, before finishing as chili pepper. Rich, sticky sweetness sparkles through light smoke and salt. There's no smoke in this. In an Oban of supernatural character. All right, good, good, good. Let's take a look. Let's see what we have here. Cheers. I love it when they say chili pepper. This is hot. This is so freaking hot. This is just immature whiskey, in my opinion. I'm not going to rant. I'm not going to rave, but literally, this is immature whiskey. They're using old, used, inactive casks, partially. They're mixing it with new American oak and then finishing it for an undeclared amount of time in sherry and Amontillado. I get a nice little, it's nice. I get a definite little tingle in my cheeks and gums, and there's a little bit of sulfates going on in here, which I don't like, but that's okay. It's the heat that really bothers me here. Is it sweet? Is it salty? No. Is there's smoke in here? No. It is reminiscent of a reused hogshead whiskey that's been in a warehouse for 8 to 10 years, that has been in a refill sherry butt for 3 to 6 months, and then thrown in the market as an independent bottler that we hope we won't find out. I am not at all amused. All right? Personal opinion. Going over to 12-year-old from last year. Much more mouthfeel. There's a tiny little bit of heat going on here, but not the exorbitant heat of immature whiskey. There is the barrel char, there is the vanilla sweetness, there is the barley sweetness, there's a little bit of a tanninic wood moment going on there. This is a whiskey that I would say is absolutely okay. This is a C to a C minus whiskey. This is a C minus to a D plus whiskey. This is a value for money, C minus. Hey, if you really got to have one of the special editions, I would probably go for the, I would go for the Taliska, probably is what I would go for as usual. But hey, if you need to have an Oban, go for it. Other things are just so freaking expensive. I don't think I can recommend them at all. This is definitely a D minus for value for money. I'm very, very, I'm disappointed. I'm so glad I did a bottle share of this. 5 sales belong to me. The rest I've shared, and I'll get rid of the rest of this as well. Now, I did do this in my German video before the American or the English video here. I did add a little bit of water, but let's play a little bit with water again. Maybe it's just me, all right? It's 57.1%. It is 10 years of age. It used a lot of old what was it called here? Refill American oak. They didn't even use the word bourbon casks. Took it down to about 50%. The interesting thing is it gets better, and then at the same time it gets worse. The finish really turns on you. There's this acidity as well as a wood tannin moment, astringency. And it's not nice. Wow. I'm going to take it down to under 40%. I just put too much in my glass. I'm trying to get rid of it somehow. Okay, the nose gets a little bit more floral moments, a little bit rose petals. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. If you dilute it down to about 43%, the same thing as the Oban 14 here, you're getting a creaminess, you're getting a great texture. You are getting a little bit of that sweetness. Sometimes I think they really do the tasting notes, not at cask strength, but really at 40, 38, 35, 40% here. So it says the rich, sticky sweetness sparkles through. Now it does at 40 some percent. We have here the creamy texture introduces a taste rich in sweet hints of wine poached spice. If it would have said pears instead of plums, I would have, yeah. Balanced by the vibrant salt and spice before finishing as chili pepper. I would give this whiskey a C to C plus at that 43%. That's actually nice. It is always, always amazing how a whiskey transforms its flavor profiles with the ABV. I've had so many cases where we've done cask. We were going to fill a cask with we can fill bottles with a cask, and the question of what proof. And so we would start a cask strength, let's say 61%. We would try 59, we would try 57, we'd try 55, 53, 51, and often I don't want under 50, and then we'd maybe go a little bit lower. And it's like, okay, good, between 57 and 55, everyone agrees that's actually the sweet spot. And then we try 57, 56.5, 56, 60, 55.5, 55. And even there, sometimes those differences were, is that the same whiskey? It's just, it changed. And even there, that to find that sweet spot sometimes is to, oh, this is where we like it the best. And you do that over days, and then you figure out what you want, and then boom, you can bottle it, and hopefully you pick that right ABV. Now, you would probably say, as a whiskey expert, a whiskey connoisseur, as a lover of cask strength whiskey, why would you even do that, Jason? Let the consumer choose. I'm going to propose to you that I'm going to say 9 from 10 times the consumer doesn't. Very few people actually play with water the way I do. Very few people actually it took me years to understand the fact that I was allowed to water down a whiskey and to put it the place where I like it. And it's not always 60%, it's not always 55%. Sometimes it is actually 43, 45, 48, 50. I get to choose and I get to find that out. And I would prefer, WhiskyJason, that actually the distillers had that, I'm going to use the word audacity, to actually then proof whiskeys down and get that at the point where they say this tastes the best. Not what the consumer today wants, cask strength, barrel proof, but actually where we go, oh, that's where the whiskey shines. Yeah, and so this whiskey shines at 43%. Totally agree. So if I go over to the Oban 14 at 43%, that's actually a tick better. It has the fruitiness, it has the wood. Ooh, it has a little bit of saltiness, which I didn't get here. I got that more here with the Oban 14. Now, if I think about this, 109 euros, I think about this, 43 euros. I'm going to buy 2.5 bottles of this any day of the week before I go out and buy 1 bottle of those. of that. Now, I do know now that with my water, I can get 1.5 bottles from that, but still, I think the availability and the just the bottle itself, the 14-year-old Oban, is what I would tend towards. Yes, these bottles are a little bit more for the younger generation, but hey, I might be more of a conservatist. Oh, wow, I'm very a conservative person. A little old-fashioned. Who knows? All right. So my question of the day is, what is your favorite Oban? Is it the 2021? Is it the 2022 special release? Is it the 14? Is it the Little Bay? Is it the what was it? Night Games of Thrones had the Night Throne, or what was it called? The Black Knight. Ah, come on, Jason. I just read this and I know that. All right. Oban. It's called the Night's Watch. We have Oban Reserve. In America, you get the 18-year-old. We don't. Maybe even the Distiller's Edition from Oban. There's also at the moment maybe a 10-year-old Amontillado finish. Oh, that's what we just have here. So, which one of the Obans? Such a limited release, such a limited range. Which ones do you prefer? Thank you very much for watching, liking, subscribing, sharing. I gave you the price, the D-. I gave you the C-, the D+, at cask strength. With water, 43%, 45%. C+, value for money. C-, D+. Personal opinion. All right. All the best. See you soon. Whiskey Jason. Bye-bye.